So welcome to our administrative complex here at 1320 West Main, and we are very excited about the announcement that will be made today. I'm Rogers Anderson, the Williamson County Mayor. I've had the opportunity the last few minutes in my office to hear some of the great news that is about to occur. But you know, behind every scene, behind every grant, behind every dollar, there are men and women that are working tirelessly to improve the situation here, not only in Williamson County, but in Rutherford County and some of our other surrounding areas. And so today you're going to hear a lot. You're going to hear something about that. And we want to thank both United and Middle Tennessee Electric for being here, and our state representatives and our state senator for being here. And I saw one of our county commissioners here earlier, Rick Lawrence, somewhere. There he is. I would ask, before I turn it over to Representative Glenn Cassada to say a few words, and then we'll go to Jack Johnson, our state senator, and I'll come back up and formally introduce Mr. Bradford and Mr. Jones. But I would ask that you remember the social distancing that was put in place by our great governor in the Tennessee Pledge, 6 feet apart, wear those masks. It's helped to drive this pandemic down. It's coming on down, and we're very proud of that in Williamson County. We thank the citizens for being a part of the success that we have. I doubt that the announcement today is going to have any bearing on that announcement to drive it down anymore, but we're always excited about having the expansion of broadband, and we desperately need it here in our county and all across our region. What it will mean to everything from our schools staying open, a large number of children are choosing to be educated at home, telemedicine, up and coming since the pandemic last 100 days, and working at home. So all of these different things that are playing in to the success we're having here in Williamson County. And the first one I want to introduce is Glenn Cassada, state representative. Come up and say a few words, and then we'll listen to his remarks, and then we'll ask Jack. Glenn?
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate your leadership. I don't think we get to express it enough. Being county mayor is probably one of the most important things, but you are the point of center and the driving of the economic development of our county. And you've had many late nights. When I knew Rogers, he used to have red hair, and now he's turned blonde on us. So thank you, Rogers, for your leadership and what you do. And which brings us why this is so important, is economic development. 80 years ago, the rural electrification of the state was the big thing. It was cooperative between our utilities and our business people in the state and federal, and we brought electricity to the state of Tennessee via TVA. Today, it's broadband. And our leaders in the utility industry and our leaders at United Telephone, working with Governor Lee, working with the senator, we are bringing broadband to the rural parts of the county. And that brings jobs to the rural parts of the county, and that's, as the old saying goes, a rising tide will lift all boats, and this is what we'll do. So one more brag point. William, you and I, and who else was at that meeting late one night? Yes, Chuck, yes. And so we were in the Bethesda community, and the members out there just wanted to know when will broadband come? And so these guys in this room came with us, Jack, and we started at 6 o'clock, and I think it was about 9:15 before we got out. But you guys answered their questions, and you're working with them, and thank you for your leadership. William, I'm looking at you. Thank you all very much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jack Johnson. I have the honor of being the state senator for Williamson County, and it's an exciting morning. It's a great time to be here. I look forward to any opportunity to get out of the house and actually get to see some people and not be on a computer screen. And speaking of computer screens, I'll echo what Glenn said. The timing of this just could not be more appropriate with what we've been through for the last few months. And the mayor touched on a couple of them, but I want to reiterate how our lives have changed. And quite frankly, I think that a lot of this is going to be with us for the foreseeable future. Things like working from home, Things like potentially doing some education at home. I have 2 high school students and 1 in college, and they've both been doing, or all 3 of my kids have been doing some combination of home learning as well as some in classroom instruction as well. So delivery of broadband is critical, not only to our economy, but healthcare, education, so many aspects of our lives. I'll tell you a quick funny story. For a number of years, my family and I lived out in the Leapers Fork area. We did not have very good broadband. It was lacking. We made do, but it was lacking. A few years ago, we decided to move into the city of Franklin, and we bought a house. We renovated it and bought some acreage. And I was talking to my kids about it, and they were far more excited about getting faster broadband than they were moving into a new house. And so I think that's a brief glimpse into the future. You know, what we passed in the General Assembly a few years ago under the Haslam administration to really try to expedite delivery of broadband into the rural areas, I think was a critical turning point. And I'm so proud that 2 of our outstanding corporate constituents, Middle Tennessee Electric and United, I believe were the first to form that partnership that we enabled with that legislation to show that it could be done by utilizing resources from different entities and allowing them to deploy the badly needed broadband into our communities. And so thank you for doing that. I'm very proud that you guys are in our community and that you're doing this. From an economic development standpoint, you know, one of the things that Governor Lee focused on in the campaign and has continued to focus on in his administration is rural economic development. And you cannot develop your economy without broadband. And so as Tennessee grows, and we're doing well despite all of the challenges we have in our economy, but as we come out of this pandemic, Tennessee is so well positioned to explode from an economic development standpoint. And most of that is going to occur, I believe, in the rural areas. And Tennessee has a lot to offer from an economic development standpoint, and making sure that we have those critical infrastructure assets, including broadband, are going to be a big piece of that economic development. So thank you for the invitation to be here, and again, congratulations, and thank you for your hard work to make this happen.
So thank you, Glenn and Jack. Appreciate you guys being here. And behind the scenes, there's lots of folks from the state, the ECDs here, Sammy. We appreciate all of you for what you have done, and at the local level, what that means to Williamson County. We like to think we're the catalyst for everything that happens across the state of Tennessee, but we realize we are just a part of that. A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet the gentleman who's going to speak next. William Bradford came in, and he was telling me all about this electronic and telecommunication and what United and I remember an old saying that I had years ago when I was working in the fields with my dad. He'd say, "Son, you stay in your lane. Don't worry about what your sister and brother are doing when they're hoeing." And I've learned to trust this man. I've learned to trust what he says is he's going to get it done. Chris Jones is mighty important to me too, but William Bradford has done and delivered what he said he was going to do. Thank you for that, and would like to introduce you to say a few words.
Well, thank you, Mayor Anderson. You know, I grew up in Chattanooga and lived in North Carolina for a while. When we moved back to Tennessee 10 years ago, people always asked me, how's it going there? And I really, my simple response was, it's a great place to raise a family and run a business. And that's because we've got so many people representing us and creating the kind of environment where you feel comfortable investing millions of dollars in broadband and sending your kids to the public schools and renovating your house. It truly is a great place. You know, because of that, we sit here today. You know, we came to you when we first came to Middle Tennessee with the idea of expanding broadband through rural areas and said, we need your help. And you've always said, what can we do? What can we do? And the county, you know, passed a broadband-ready community ordinance. And that did a few things. It eliminated a lot of the red tape to deploy broadband in the state, and it makes it more attractive, the county more attractive to receive federal and state grants. Once you've taken those steps with the county commissioners, it's really been amazing. And we've already seen, you know, United in the less than a year has brought more than $11 million of federal and state grants to this region because of that. And two, you put us in touch with the people that we need to talk to about permitting and going down roads and highways. So it truly has been a great partnership. Jack and Glenn join us at community meetings for constituents that want to know what can we do to get broadband. And we like to joke, we love doing state applications. Crystal Ivey, the state broadband director, is here. They've really eliminated a lot of the unnecessary administrative hurdles, and they want to see companies be successful deploying broadband. When we do an application with the state, it takes us a week of work to get the application uploaded and in. We did a federal application for a similar size grant, and I think we submitted 400 pages of paperwork for the same kind of grant. So show you how far the state has really thought to, making this easy and encouraging businesses to invest. You guys hit on what I was going to say. I mean, this COVID-19 crisis, first and foremost, is a healthcare crisis, a serious one, but it's triggered a jobs crisis, a financial crisis, an education crisis. And because of that, over the last 6 months, broadband has been even more important than it was before. We're fortunate to be in a state where the governor recognizes lack of broadband an issue and did before the coronavirus pandemic. But now it's just really highlighted that, and we're so fortunate that our state leaders have put together a $60 million fund to increase broadband access in rural areas. The grant today that we're receiving is a $1 million grant that'll be focused mainly on the College Grove areas where people haven't had access to fast internet in a long time or ever, really. So we're really pleased with that. As people have mentioned, to date, we've invested over $50 million in Williamson County deploying fiber to the primarily underserved areas. This year alone, 1,800 residents of Williamson County have gotten fiber that formerly hadn't had access to reliable broadband. I'm really proud of the hard work the team put in on that. We're excited about this $1 million grant. We're matching it with another $250,000 of our own money on this project, and really it just fits into our aggressive investment in the rural areas of Middle Tennessee. We're also pleased to say, Williamson County is home. I live in Williamson County. Middle Tennessee Electric is hugely invested in Williamson County, and we just planted our new corporate offices in the Berry Farms development. It's just a great place at the intersection of development and rural Williamson County. And for us, it was just a great story. We built fiber into the Berry Farms development to serve our own headquarters, but we also took fiber down Goose Creek, Paytonsville, Carter's Creek, Bear Creek. People right outside massive development going on in Cool Springs that have never had access to reliable internet. So for us, that's sort of how we work. We start in the rural areas and we bring broadband to people that haven't had it. And we couldn't do it without our great partners at Middle Tennessee Electric. From day one, they've said, you've got the unlimited resources of Middle Tennessee Electric to make this success and serve our members. And with that, it might be a good point to hand over to Chris and let him talk a little bit about what we've done. Well, I just want to thank you all again. I am sincere. Mayor Anderson making this a great county to do business in. Jack, Glenn, Sammy, and Crystal from the state level. It's just amazing. I've done business in 18 different states, and this truly is the best state to do business in. Thank you.
Oh, we're all learning new ways to introduce folks and get around, and it's all new and it's strange. And I had the honor also to have known Chris Jones for some time now, and I was sitting over there looking at their logo. It says empowered. It's powered by, and the things that occur in Middle Tennessee area, it's all about electricity. And with your recent acquisition over in Rutherford County, the only change I would like to see Middle Tennessee Electric make is to move into Williamson County with their corporate offices. Chris Jones, come on up.
Well, thank you for that request, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everybody. It's great to see everyone here to celebrate this another fantastic development that we're so excited about. So, Middle Tennessee Electric has had the honor for the last 84 years to serve virtually every resident and business in Williamson County. And that's something we do not take for granted. It is our honor to serve. And I want to start with saying that and William, we've talked about this too, from the standpoint of whether it's electricity or broadband, when we understand that we are servants, that we are here to serve, then we do our jobs better. And that's the filter through which we look as we seek to serve this greater community. So I've got some Thanksgiving and then a pledge, and I'll be brief. But if I could start with some Thanksgiving, if I may, and I want to start, if I could, with the senator and the representative here. When we worked together, and certainly felt your great support with the leadership of Governor Haslam to change state law to allow us to enter this business space, which made this partnership possible. So thank you for your trust and for your work to see that done. And music to my ears, Senator, to hear you say you're proud of what we've accomplished, because certainly we want to serve, but what we wanted to do too was make you proud. So we appreciate what you both have done for us and your support. We mentioned our friends from the state here who are on staff, who work extremely hard to see these things move forward. I know that they are passionate about this, and that makes a difference. So thank you for our employees from the state who are working every day to see this move forward. Mr. Mayor, you can't tell anyone else this, but you're one of my favorites, as we work with lots of local politicians, and we are thankful for all the relationships we have. But Williamson County has something very special in Mayor Rogers Anderson, and we appreciate him so very much. And you mentioned how Williamson County often sets the pace, and that's true. And so we appreciate the push and the leadership here we felt from you, Mr. Mayor, and other city mayors here in the county, who are saying, this needs to happen, and pushing us along. So we appreciate that. Certainly, Middle Tennessee Electric is thankful for the partnership with United Communications, and very proud of the work we have already done. So, William, again, thank you for the relationship that we have and for the partnership we have as organizations. It is very interesting on a number of levels. It's a unique partnership. We are electric cooperative, not-for-profit, owned by our members, and United is a little different organization, but our values are in lockstep with one another. So we're excited about the opportunities we have in front of us. The pledge. So our pledge is that even though we are talking about some areas here where we're going to deliver service, and we talked about Representative Bethesda community and other areas where we've been able to deliver. We know there are other areas that are saying, when are you coming for us? And that includes parts of Williamson County. In fact, we had our annual meeting on August the 29th, and we had a Q&A session as part of that, and we had a number of members of Middle Tennessee Electric from Western Williamson County, Mr. Mayor shared with you, who said, when is it our turn? And so I would just say that we are coming. It is our promise to, as we have delivered electric service to everyone in Williamson County who desired it, the same is our intention from a broadband perspective, William, through United, to deliver high-speed internet service, broadband, true broadband, to anyone in Williamson County who wants it. We know there are still a number of underserved or unserved people in this community, and we are on our way. We just can't do it fast enough, not as fast as we would like, but we are committed to seeing it done. That is our promise, certainly our pledge, that we'll see that done. So, Mr. Mayor, I know we have a Q&A session that starts soon, so allow me to turn it over to you. And again, if I could say one more time, what an honor it is to simply serve here in this great community, and if we can be of service in any way, never hesitate to let us know.
Well, thank you very, very much. We now have the opportunity to have a question and answer series. I just ask both of you gentlemen to stand where you are. I think we can hear everyone. I know the press is here, and there are probably others that may have questions. Questions to either William Bradford or Chris Jones. Go ahead.
So you said Leapers Fork area for the Fairview, you've got some plans, I guess. Do you have those timetables for that, or does that depend on grant money coming in?
We're making a very large investment that's already been committed this year to expand our backbone through the western portion of Williamson County. So those will be underway here in the next few months. That'll put us in a position in 2021 to start serving members off of that backbone. So that's the first step, is to get that major thoroughfare of fiber coming through there. So Middle Tennessee Electric committed to doing that on the fringes of their network to make sure we have fiber in places where there's never been fiber before.
And we're certainly thankful for the grants. We've earned tens of millions of dollars in grants from the state and the federal government, and every little bit helps. But so we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of ultimate effort to get this done across our service territory. So very much appreciated. Working together, we make this happen faster. Again, the speed, we want to make it happen as fast as we can. I think we can make a real difference next year in this area, building out the backbone that William is referring to. This is an important next step.
And we do have existing federal applications in place for some portions of western Williamson County that would obviously help accelerate some of that. I hope to hear back any day on.
Follow up, Commissioner.
Yeah, so basically next year, you think maybe we'll keep seeing some movement?
Absolutely. I mean, we've already extended our network as far west as Cards Creek, Bear Creek, Parkway. We're still working our way every day that way. When we announced this partnership, I think we had never crossed the highway. We primarily had our network east of the highway.
You've got the dev that's sort of already in the works. That you got a timetable for that area too?
Crossing our fingers that so that one's going to be built under a federal grant. That paperwork from Washington will be executed as early as next week. We're hopeful. Things don't move as fast coming out of Washington as they do out of the state.
Will that be next year too? Or if that grant happens?
We'll be able to start immediately. That requires some of the same preparation and construction work. So I would expect customers will be lit next year on that, even though they might see progress this year.
And if I may qualify to make sure that, leading the room today, when we say 2021 and we're going to see movement, we are. We're not saying that we're going to be able to deliver service throughout western Williamson County in 2021. This is a multi-year process across our service area. So, again, it's our heart's desire to give service today, but we just can't do that. There are realities in front of us. So still throughout our service territory, we're talking about years to get these things done. And again, the more advanced we have, the faster we can do it. So again, our appreciation for the state coming into this one.
Could I get you, William, or Chrissy, the one to kind of explain what the map's all about? Maybe that would, because a lot of the questions are centering around when and where and what kind of time frame.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the projects that actually started last week. So the nice thing about state grants is they like to move fast, and we like to move fast. So we actually were officially awarded the grant on Friday, and we had crews of Tennesseans rolling through on Monday building fiber. So we've built, this is the College Grove area, and I invite you to come up afterwards. As you can tell, it's spread out. The issues now are smaller and smaller. The people in these little isolated pockets don't have access to broadband, and it's harder to have a solution. But please, I'm really excited. Our team hit the ground running. If you live in the area, you probably saw us on the main roads going cutting through the country. Put up about 100,000 feet of fiber in 1 week. And so I think in the next week or so, we'll be contacting the residents to start scheduling their fiber installations, and that'll start happening here in the next 30 days. So making great progress here throughout the areas east of Paynesville and the College Grove area.
Thank you. Other questions? Glenn?
I get a lot of phone calls. I have no 5G, I have no internet. Chris, you mentioned, there are obstacles. I think it's important that we outline what those obstacles are. I live in a rural part of the area. The obvious is bring internet to me. Discuss why that just can't be done. It takes grants. Discuss the economic side. Sure.
We looked at a rural customer last week, and I think it was $78,000 to bring internet to one residence. There's people still in Williamson County and all these surrounding counties really that are just so far from any utility connection that it's really an expensive proposition. So our view of the world is we're doing it, as Chris said, as fast as we can. But there's huge economic hurdles in addition to just physically stranding up fiber and making sure the poles are ready and having it engineered and safe and ready to go.
So that's why these grants are truly amazing. And there's some people that probably wouldn't ever have service for grants, just given the pure cost of providing service.
So, from a Tennessee Electric standpoint, we're not for profit, we're also not for loss. You know? So, there are these realities. We're not seeking to maximize profit as we make these initiatives, but again, our business models are a bit different. But at the end of the day, we're seeking to make sure we can serve everybody. And in order to do that in an economic way that's good for the whole, we're taking careful steps. So I appreciate the motion represented, because there are realities with regard to what we just mentioned, with more rural areas being more difficult, more expensive to serve. Again, our commitment is to serve them all. We've got to do it smart, and we've got to do it as fast as we can. And that's our goal.
Other questions? Yes.
Do we know how many people roughly this area serves?
It's a big area, and there's 300 residents in that area that will get service. So that's part of the challenge too, right? It's a lot of fiber, a lot of miles of fiber, and that's why rural Tennesseans have been left behind. So this will be a roughly $1.3 million project that brings service to 295 residents.
And then also, this might be a question for you, Mr. Mayor, but in Williamson County in general, do you know roughly how many people are underserved in this area in terms of broadband?
That's probably a question that William can answer, him or Chris, either one. They know the numbers a lot better in this area.
It's hard to say. I mean, there's a big effort at the FCC to improve the quality of broadband maps that show down to the geolocation who has access to broadband and not. And the quality of the maps isn't there, but we estimate it's probably in the tens of thousands in the county. It's not what the FCC maps will say, but we believe it's a big problem.
So something I didn't understand going into this process that William was helping me understand better is what you just spoke to, and even a lack of knowledge in how many, in the level of service that across the county, across the state, across the country for that matter. And the SEC maps that William is referring to, there's an effort to see those updated and made better. And that's something that it seems desperately needs to happen.
Yes, absolutely. There was actually a federal law passed just a few weeks ago that will mandate the improvement of the broadband maps in the United States. So we're big supporters of that because it'll help people, our representatives and our state leaders better direct funds to those areas.
Good question. Other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you, William, for your commitment to our county. And I think next we have a demonstration. And again, I'm going to ask someone that knows what they're doing to come up here. I don't
Mayor's
want
actually going to be showing us how to do it, right? Yep, it is. It puts you to work. We got to slice a lot of fiber in the county, so we need all the help we can get.
So these are the individual fibers.
Come on, come on out.
Everybody can come up. You can kind of see how small they are. And they're color coded just so that we can tell them apart. So that's two identical 144 count fibers coming into this case. So there's 288 fibers. So they're all the same color, we'll be able to tell them apart. So they have a cladding on the outside of them that is the color. It also gives that strength because it is in fact glass. There's a 250 micron, which is a quarter of a millimeter thick fiber inside there. It's stripped and ready to go in here. And when we hit this green button, Mr. Mayor, you're going to fuse those two pieces of fiber together. So similar to a welding process, it's got two electrodes, and they'll actually fuse those two pieces and make them like they were never broken.
So you want me to hit that green?
Hit that green button.
Don't hit the red one.
So notice they'll bring them in, it aligns them. So it's taking a picture of it and seeing how everything shakes out. Analyzing it. You see that arc flash? That's what that was. Now it's one fiber done. Look, you did an excellent job. Best of any of the mayors.
You are good. So how many fibers are in that cable?
So that's 144 of each of those. So I can open this up now it's done. looking, you can barely see that fiber down in there.
And so you have to do that at every connection?
Every piece.
Every piece?
Mm.
Wow.
We have some open positions. If
Well, if it was as easy as this, I could do it.
Or you can teach them.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Are there other questions, comments? Again, thank you for being here. I think there's going to be some individual pictures made. Am I correct? Anybody wants them?
Thank y'all.
Thank you very much for being here.